Thank you. Well, I bring up FASB's $2 trillion addition to the liabilities and assets on American balance sheets each time you're here. I want to commend you for stepping forward in the prior and say, yes, FASB gets their authority from the SEC, and you take responsibility for your decision to delegate that authority. They didn't follow the Administrative Procedure Act. They didn't listen to anybody in the construction field. They didn't do any cost-benefit analysis. And we're going to see a decline in construction employment as a result of this new rule. So I'll just ask you, you take responsibility for all that?
Well, we have had this discussion before, and again, the SEC has ultimate responsibility for accounting standards. We've obviously, for many, many years, recognized the private sector, therefore FASB is the standard setter. And the SEC has the power.
The SEC hasn't required them to follow the Administrative Procedure Act. The SEC has done nothing with regard to their processes or their outcomes.
Well, I can't say they have. I mean, I understand your point. From your point of view, they haven't followed their due process procedures. I certainly haven't received that information from any other quarter in terms of the process that they followed.
I do know that that information from whom?
Among others. I mean, obviously, people comment on their process publicly all the time, as well as our staff in the Chief Accountant's office.
The people who comment live in this world I used to live in, of accounting. They barely know, they barely heard of the Administrative Procedure Act. It is foreign to that world to let carpenters and pipe fitters come before the agency and say, please don't ruin my family and my job. And so they refuse to listen to any of those people.
Again, information that's coming to me is that FASB, comments were received on this proposal, obviously several times, and that they were responsive to some and not to others.
They wouldn't. That's why I'm using the word listen rather than the word invite people to send emails that will be thrown away. They wouldn't listen to anyone. They didn't do a cost-benefit analysis. We're going to see a decline in construction jobs. There is no benefit from this.
Of course, an accounting standard is, meant obviously to convey the economic reality of the transaction. And I know we've had this conversation before, but it was actually in 2005 that the SEC staff actually recommended that FASB, undertake the, in effect, capitalization of
no cost-benefit analysis. Never discussed it with anybody who showers after work rather than before work.
And again, in terms of where cost-benefit analysis comes in or doesn't for an accounting standard, because of the purpose, I know you're a CPA, but obviously in a very good one, but it's really to convey the economic reality of the transaction. I know they put off the transition period, being cognizant of the
transition. They don't convey economic reality in their discussions, which is why they have no defense for FASB number 2, which also distorts the American economy by penalizing companies that engage in research. Every accounting, and I will ask your chief accountant to look at this, because it's proof that they don't always do it on the basis of economic reality. Every accounting theorist for decades said that you capitalize research. They don't, because it's not convenient. And to come here and say, well, they just reflect accounting theory and economic reality is a misstatement of what they do. And I know I brought up with your people FASB number 2, and they basically say, look, we don't want to listen to reality. We don't care. We want to do what's convenient. And this approach, if the same people that tell you that accounting theory, and it doesn't, requires leases to be capitalized, let them cite you any to any accounting theory that says research should be written off and not capitalized. The accountant, you have empowered, you take responsibility for, they give you some talking points. These decisions are as important as any reached in Congress. They affect hundreds of thousands of lives. And the procedure and the outcome is is not something that your agency can be proud of. I yield back.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina,